a lot of issues all over the world that the leaders could not stay in the country due to the illegitimate government, military rules, or such other dictators like Yunus. He is a usurper. Yunus is a mass murderer. He is a killer. He committed genocide. This student movement was demanded to their rights that unfair practice was going to the recruitment. They called in Bengali that Boishamya Birodhi Andolan. Right after this so-called uprising, the killing continuously, the mass murder is continuing. Not only the murder, rapes, lootings, vandalisms, the mob violence, every day is happening, is increasing. It is called, as I could quote, that by the Jamaat, for the Jamaat and the BNP, it is called the Banana Republic. Bangladesh turned into Banana Republic. Only the allergy to the neighboring country, India, and they are playing this trump card again and again and again. I think Sheikh Hasina did not take any advantage. She does not want to remain here. And any moment, repeatedly, she is uttering, I would like to go back to the country. This Yunus government is totally illegal, unconstitutional. If anyone would like to blame that Sheikh Hasina's asylum or staying in India is making the bilateral relationship poor, it is not true. In Bangladesh, that they are trying to kick out the minorities people, grabbing their properties. It was the slogan of the BNP, they call it in Bengali is Bharatiya Dalal. Mohammad Yunus, who portrayed himself as the peace laureate, but working right opposite to the peace. Minorities persecution, now it is turned into a genocide, ethnic cleansing. Some foreign powers are trying to take over this South Asian region, and Bangladesh is a hot spot. Their misinterpretation of the Islam, they turned into the violent Islam.
Hello and welcome to HT's weekly talk show, The Interview. Bangladesh is in the news. For one, it is headed for an election, and two, its former, rather ousted Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has kicked up a storm by what the interim government in Bangladesh has called a hate speech. We are surprised and shocked that India allowed a fugitive Prime Minister to make a public address in New Delhi and letting a mass murderer openly deliver her hate speech, Dhaka said in a statement. That notwithstanding, the deed is done. Sheikh Hasina has said what she wanted to, clearly using the Indian soil to woo the electorate back home. What would be the consequences? What does this mean for the bilateral relationship? What about the safety of Hindus in Bangladesh? These are just a few questions, the tip of the iceberg, so to speak. We have with us Mohammad Ali Siddiqui, General Secretary, Bangladesh Human Rights Watch, to discuss the nitty-gritty of the goings-on in Bangladesh and the forthcoming elections. Mohammad Ali Siddiqui here with us in this edition of HT's weekly talk show, The Interview. Welcome to the show, Mr. Mohammad Ali Siddiqui, and thank you for being here with us.
Inviting me, your popular show. Thank you.
First things first, how do you react to the Bangladesh government slamming India after Sheikh Hasina's speech?
It is the usual practice what the Yunus regime reacted through his foreign ministry. Whatever we addressed through this press conference in Delhi, it is our democratic right.
You know, it is not your press conference or the press conference of the group that they are objecting to. They are objecting to Sheikh Hasina talking to the press.
Sheikh Hasina's speech was given to a platform organized by the Foreign Correspondents Club. I think she addressed to the nation and to the peace-loving world that what's happening in the Bangladesh currently and what's going to be happened after the upcoming election.
What about the foreign ministry saying that they are surprised and shocked, quote unquote?
It is their usual practice, but I think Sheikh Hasina did not violate any norms.
On the contrary, I think that in one sense they are right, because from their point of view, she is a fugitive, if I may use the term, and is using foreign soil for election propaganda.
Sheikh Hasina was forced to exiled in India, the friendly country. Otherwise, she's life and death question was the biggest concern.
What about using foreign soil for election propaganda?
A lot of issues all over the world that the leaders could not stay in the country due to the illegal, illegitimate government, military rules, or such other dictators like Yunus. He is a usurper. He does not deserve to be on that chair. That government have no right to raise these issues.
What you say about the Yunus government is exactly what is being said about the Hasina government, the erstwhile Hasina government, that she did not deserve to be there and hence was driven out.
In return, the answer was given Sheikh Hasina to the press over there. Yunus is a mass murderer. He is a killer. He committed genocide to the political opponents, the free speech thinkers, minorities, and he destroyed the democratic institutions.
But Yunus came in later. She was driven out due to the public uprising much before he came in. So to blame that on him is kind of unfair, and she was actually driven out by the students.
If I explain, the thing that this student movement was demanded to their rights, that unfair practice was going to the recruitment. In Bengali, that Boishamya Birodhi Andolan, a lot of Western foreign powers, they were involved here.
We will come to that, but before that, let me take your point of mass murderer and let me quote what the foreign ministry said. Letting mass murderer Hasina, and I underline the word mass murderer, Hasina, openly deliver her hate speech is an affront to the people and government of Bangladesh, unquote. What would you say about the hate speech and about their calling Hasina a mass murderer, a term you were using for Mohammad Yunus?
It is a false accusation to Sheikh Hasina. Right after this so-called uprising, the killing continuously, the mass murder is continuing. Not only the murder, rapes, lootings, vandalisms, the mob violence, every day is happening, is increasing. None of the existing government's initiatives taken by to stop this. No places to take shelter to the victims could go and seeking justice. The court removed the Chief Justice and other senior 6 appellate division judges from their position by force and not abiding by the constitution. Newly appointed judges or justices is one-sided, and it is called, as I could quote, that by the Jamaat, for the Jamaat and the BNP, and it is the dictated judiciary system now. So, it is called the banana republic. Bangladesh turned into banana republic, not a simple existence of the democratic values and the rights are in Bangladesh now.
On another point, isn't Sheikh Hasina taking undue advantage of India's hospitality and generosity and taking things a bit too far?
We could recall right after our hard-earned independence, 3.5 years later, the father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, was brutally assassinated. Exiled two daughters took shelter this time in India. India is a proven friendly country, helped out in 1971 and onward. And after this catastrophe on 15th August 1975, no other countries gave them shelter, only India. And then, the government, we are grateful to Indian government, Indian people. Sheikh Hasina did not flee from the country. She was taken by the military helicopter and was transported to India by the military plane. So, lot of examples are there, lot of accusations against Tariq Rahman. He was 17 years in Britain. He just recently,
Went to
Bangladesh. No question, arises by any corner or any section that, the Britain violated the democratic rights, laws, or any country's relationship. Only the allergy to the neighboring country, India, and they are playing this trump card again and again and again. I think Sheikh Hasina did not take any advantage. She does not want to remain here. And any moment, repeatedly, she is uttering, I would like to go back to the country. She would like to serve. And she would, intend to rebuild the democracy in the soil of Bangladesh.
Yes, but my question was a little different, which was that while you are grateful or she is grateful or the Awami League is grateful for India to have given her shelter, if I may use the term, isn't she taking that generosity a bit far by actually using the Indian soil for propaganda? So, the way it should have been, not to rock the boat, not to ruin the bilateral relationship, and this of course is a very important point vis-a-vis India and Bangladesh, and should have been lying low rather than kicking up a storm.
India, according to the international law abided by, gave her a shelter.
That's right. Till there, it's okay. But she seems to be using that, and I use the word and repeat the word generosity, to her advantage and rocking the boat, as it were.
Bilateral relationship in the question is bottom of the history, Bangladesh and India. They are always hatred, spread the hatred against India. It is the political tools they always use. Again, I repeat that Sheikh Hasina did not use that advantages, because she is always outspoken wherever she remains, wherever she is, and my belief that Indian government never ever put any restrictions for her democratic rights.
So, India was being generous by not putting any curbs on her speech.
Yes.
Shouldn't then she have been a little more responsible?
None of her speech was given provocative, instigative, that creates a violence. We have a few election example in our country, provoked the people. They threatened they're going to dismantle or stopped the election and thrown the Molotov cocktails to the vehicles, burned down, dismantle the houses and properties. Neither one Sheikh Hasina asked through this event to the nation or rest of the world. Still, she is demanding my party, Awami League, intend to join this election and give her back the rights. 60 or 70% people's voter support on that Awami League side are refrained from the upcoming election. So, only she asked for them not to go to vote. Without vote, no vote.
No, she asked the people to overthrow the Yunus government, and by that statement, she is actually inviting anarchy and pushing the people to rebel. Is this good politics for a former Prime Minister who should actually push for peace?
When 8th of August 2024, Yunus took over the power, as he made a false story to the media that Section 106 under the Constitution, the interim government could have formed. None of the term exist in the Constitution of Bangladesh.
No, I was on the question of your saying that she did not call the people or instigate the people for violence, but she said overthrow the Yunus government. Now, that is actually asking the people to rebel.
This Yunus government is totally illegal, unconstitutional. I think she had the right to say overthrow the government, calling the people, unite them, go on the street, protest, and that's why the overthrowing this kind of illegal, unconstitutional, illegitimate government, I think it is part of her democratic rights, and she did not violate it the way or instigated to the people. And even though till date, none of the Awami League people come to the street, beaten to death to anybody as Yunus administration's people and the mob violence is doing.
What does this mean for the bilateral relationship between the two countries, which is at this point at an all-time low? And how much has Hasina's asylum been a contributory factor?
The day one, when Yunus came back to Dhaka, at the airport he gave the statement, provocating a statement against India to occupy Seven Sisters if India play any role. That's the first and foremost threat against India, made the bilateral relationship on the bottom of the position. If anyone would like to blame that Sheikh Hasina's asylum or staying in India is making the bilateral relationship poor, it is not true. It is not true, and I don't agree with that way.
What about the attack on minorities, particularly the Hindus who are being targeted? And you are with the human rights. What do you attribute this to? Is it anger? Is it outburst? Or is it systematic?
I could go back to Yunus's word. He acknowledges that this minority persecution, repression is happening due to they are the supporters of Awami League, coloring these people in one way that this is valid because they are supporter of particular one party. And it is not the new practice in Bangladesh that they are trying to kick out the minorities people, grabbing their properties and making some sections of the political party, especially Jamaat Islami, all other radical groups. And it was the slogan of the BNP too that they call it in Bengali is Bharatiya Dalal, or the Awami Doshor, Sheikh Hasina Doshor. So the followers or the activist belongs to the Awami League. That was one of the cause. The other the cause is that they don't have any power, they don't have any resistance, giving strength. That's why repeatedly the attack happening, the rapes, lootings. You know how many minority girls and the women were raped. They are locked in the houses in Chittagong, attempting to burn down their houses and burn to kill. So the reality is that Muhammad Yunus, who portrayed himself as the peace laureate, but working right opposite to the peace, and minorities persecution, now it is termed into a genocide, it is ethnic cleansing that is committing.
You spoke about land grab, you spoke about atrocities of Hindus, and you hit out at the Yunus government. Point well taken. But during the Awami League also, there were enough atrocities against the Hindus, and the human rights record was dismal. So, how fair is it now for you to cry foul?
I don't want to, disagree with your, points. It happens during all the, rulers previously, including Awami League. Didn't time still have the, openings for the section of the people are repressed or deprived or attacked. they could come to the street, they could go to the press, they could raise their issues and concern to the world. And I believe Sheikh Hasina's administration took measures, immediately arrested those perpetrators.
Is that enough?
It wasn't enough. I agree with it. It wasn't enough.
Because it should have been prevention.
That could be the prevention, or the special law or rules could be enacted. The thing that happened, that the statistics says more than 90% or 80% Muslim dominating country, some radical or fanatic groups always try to take advantages and put anarchy, and the first target is the Hindu or the minorities. Right now is going on that the existence of the minorities could be diminished, if continued this way.
So, as I understand, what you are trying to say, that during Hasina's time it happened, it is happening during Yunus's time, but it was a lesser devil theory. So, in a sense, you are probably justifying what happened then.
No, not justifying, because we were.
But you are accepting it.
Human rights activists, we condemn, we raise these issues all over, and we put pressure on Sheikh Hasina's government as well. Crime is crime, and it should not be supported by any way. If I impartially would like to stand beside the sufferers.
So, my question to you is, as a human rights activist, impartially, how would you look at the role of the Sheikh Hasina government also, while you are crying foul with what is happening in under Yunus?
I know the way the things happen. Comparing the statistics data, if come to maybe the time what happened, if I could rate 5% or 10%, now is happening in 90%.
That's a question of numbers, and as you said, a crime is a crime, and even one death or one attack
exactly
on anybody
right,
is crime enough.
Yes.
So, what is then the difference? Hasina is as much, and if I may use the term, a villain as Yunus government.
It could be the way follow through the path, but recently was revealed that even Hasina's party, Awami League, have some hidden Jamaatis or Chhatra Shibir's activists working there to portray Awami League also a party of violence. Only thing I would like to give credit to Sheikh Hasina's, whenever she heard anything or any incident happened, came to the media, she took immediate measures to stop it and to prosecute it.
That's not good enough.
It could be on your point, and as I said that even one person, one incident happened, was not properly taken care of, she should be blamed for. I am not taking that side, but it is the thing happened right now, it is uncomparable, need to be stopped.
So, what I understand is that if because there is a big if, Sheikh Hasina's government or the Awami League comes back to power, from 90% of atrocities and attacks on Hindus, we will come down to 30%. Is that what you are saying?
I think that every incident gives some lesson if they follow through the democracy, follow through the human rights and the basic principles of the human rights under the charter of the UN,
which Hasina's government violated left, right, and center.
As I agreed with you, I saw the incidents, and as a volunteer, I work for to prosecute those atrocities, those perpetrators. My belief, if Sheikh Hasina come back to power again, she already got the lesson and will rethink again, not to allow any sorts of thing happen on the soil.
There are two ways of looking at the present situation and the attack on Hindus. And I am not saying minorities, I am saying Hindus, because that resonates with us more. One, that the interim government has failed to protect the Hindus. and the other that it is a mute spectator to the goings on and has adopted a deliberate silence.
Yeah, that is the thing, as my point over there. There is no place to seek justices. And the other things, all the advisors to this interim government, including Yunus, provocating day to day and making mockery. The other thing is that Mohammad Yunus deliberately acknowledging and saying that the followers of Sheikh Hasina's are everywhere, catch them. And these atrocities is going on due to his provocation. It is happening every day. The reality is that the media in Bangladesh now are blacked out. More than dozens of the senior prominent journalists are jailed, charged with the death sentence. Thousands of journalists sacked from the job. The media houses, grabbed and occupied by Jamaat Islami and the BNPs. Every week, every month, the Pakistani or Afghani terrorist leaders, senior leaders visiting Bangladesh, and they are spreading the word they would like to eradicate the anti-Islamic people because they turned into their kafir. So, they have no right to live in.
So, they are kafirs.
Kafirs. So, that's patronizing by Mohammad Yunus, and it is very alarming.
So, against the backdrop of what you are saying,
Right.
and what is happening, allegedly happening, what in your view is the real story? What is the game plan? What is the plot?
It is a atom bomb, I could call it, the Bangladesh, because right after the independence of this country in 71, it was growing and draw attention to the rest of the world. It turned into a developing nation. Once upon a time, it was country of famine, cyclone, flood, or other things. So that was changed totally, abruptly changed, and it is falling apart the way like going to famine soon. The people to people going to be clash. Some foreign powers are trying to take over this South Asian region, and Bangladesh is a hot spot.
While you are talking of foreign powers and the Western powers, several foreign powers have been blamed for the uprising against the Hasina government. She herself has spoken about the foreign hand. What is your take, and who do you see as the real players in this political game?
In one word, deep state, the Western deep state, particularly, they played the major role, and it is not my word. I could quote Professor Jeffrey Sachs, one of the economists and a scholar from Columbia University. He gave a total portrait, described to the media how the deep state plays to all over the world, changed the regime. We heard George Soros, his Open Society Foundation contributed, Grameen Foundation, and since 2010 he contributed $164.2 million. This is one of the the foreign powers or the contributors played over there to change the regime, took this position and get their benefits out of it.
Hindus apart, the intra-Muslim tensions have also intensified in Bangladesh, and there are repeated attacks on the Sufi shrines also by conservative groups and crackdowns on cultural events. What do you ascribe this phenomenon to?
Okay, it is totally a long time policy of the Jamaat Islami particularly. This is a very party formed in 1941 or something under Maududi. Their misinterpretation of the Islam, they turned into the violent Islam, the radical Islamists. They don't want to tolerate any shrines, Sufism, and any of the activities, cultural activities, where play any music instruments or such other things, it will be totally banned. of the country. They would like to put the Sharia law or Islamic law where none of the coexistence could have happened, and this is the sign they attack those shrines, attack the mosques, they attacks the.
So, what do you ascribe this to?
It is going after soon if they come to a power. Even this 12th of February election, my belief this election not going to happen.
I am going to come to that.
Yeah, it is coming. The noise that the biggest foreign power putting strength behind Jamaat Islami and trying to put them to the government. If they come to a government, it is going to be a total disaster, I believe.
You just said that the elections are not going to happen, which is your feeling, while there is Hasina, whose statement is that Bangladesh will never experience free and fair elections under Mohammad Yunus. Which of this do you agree to? Will there be no election, or as Sheikh Hasina says, there will be no free and fair elections?
Actually, they are focusing on passing a referendum, yes or no vote. So, if they could do even by any means declaring the yes win, so then they could enact the July charter. That charter not going to go by the basic Bangladesh's values, democracy, socialism.
While talking of the referendum,
Yeah,
what is the constitutional and legal validity of it?
there is no validity. There is no validity. They don't have any right. The previous history tells that the rules of military government, General Jia, General Ershad, and such other government was null and void before. The same thing going to happen, but none of the ruler, none of the tyrannies would believe it. The last moment they try to enact some sorts of laws or orders to stay in power. But as I could say that Yunus, his term is counting down the days. Another 15 days after, we might gonna see a new era. Hopefully, the people of Bangladesh could say, new government, they are going to follow through the democratic norms and ethics and establish a rule of law and give a free, fair, credible election, as Sheikh Hasina mentioned, because none of the characters shows that Yunus is going to provide a free, fair, credible and inclusive election.
So, will the February 12 election happen or no?
My sixth sense says no, simply no.
What does your logic say?
Logic says, the election means the participation of the mass voters. As 12.5 crore voters now on the social media, the people every day saying, we are not going to go to vote, we are not going to give the vote, and these millions of people cannot be transported from their residence to the voting center, vote it in front of me or something. They could try, and there are a lot of entities, especially Jamaat Islami, NCP, they are not going after the election unless they confirm they will win. So, BNP is thinking, Tariq Rahman came back, different diplomats visiting every day to him and supporting him or such a way. Like my feelings, they are in the dream world. They are in the dream world, and keeping aside 70%, 65% voters, what would be the turnout of the voters? Maybe 5%, highest maybe 10% or some. So, it's not going to give any legitimacy.
So, what should be the Awami League's message to its voters? Don't go to vote, stay at home?
I think Awami League's leader, the top leader Sheikh Hasina already gave the directions to her, people. My understanding and feelings would be the message to the people not to go this kind of election, is a farcical election, definitely. It could be a mockery. And if you go by force, vote no for the referendum and not to vote either party, those are not people's loving party, my feelings and understanding. Particularly Jamaat Islami and their alliances of 10 parties, those are the radical Islamist, terrorist group. So, my message could be to them.
Yours or Awami League's?
I am not representing Awami League.
Exactly.
I am not representing Awami League, but I could acknowledge I am a supporter of Awami League. So, that's my feelings, what I can say. But the party's message could be given or already sent to from Sheikh Hasina.
That don't go and vote.
Don't go any vote.
What about the government's stated position that it would hold Sheikh Hasina and the Awami League responsible for any pre-poll violence and terror in the run-up to the elections?
You mentioned earlier that their statements from the foreign ministry was given. They already made accountable that any violence or anything would happen, all the liabilities could be taken by Sheikh Hasina and her party. So, it is anyway they are going to put charges on, but till date none of the Awami League workers or activists proven that they went after any violence yet. Nothing comparing the other elections. Those elections, even BNP Jamaat Islami did not participate directly. 18 they come to, but did not do any activities on the election purpose. But they bombed everywhere, they killed people, they attacked different places and tried to portray the election system as a fake one. So, difference is this 2026's election and the other elections 14, 18, 24. Sheikh Hasina called upon Khaleda Zia, let's go election together, and after the election let's form the government, whoever win on the consensus basis.
No, but what about government saying that they will hold Awami League responsible for pre-poll violence and terror as a run-up to the elections?
They always going to blame to Awami League as they are given since August 5th. So, it is it is their day-to-day story, and as usual blame. My feelings and understanding still Awami League did not call upon his people, their people, to go any violence or anything. And Awami League,
well, overthrowing the government is
no, that is the traditional speech. Always tell kick out the government or overthrow the government or something. It is a political language. It is
very provocative.
I don't see
under the given circumstances, with so much happening there.
No, that could be. On the other hand, all the violences, ongoing violences are happening by the Yunus administration.
How do you view, you've been wanting to talk about Tariq Rahman and I kept saying we'll talk about that later. How do you view the rousing reception that he got, and what are his chances in the election, and what would that mean for Bangladesh, particularly the Hindus?
Tariq Rahman, right after his arrival, after 17 years to Bangladesh, I would like to see that he learned some lesson the last 17 years while he was in UK. I don't want to deliberately say negative. I want to see some changes could have been, because they stay away from the power last 17 years as well. And if he intend to do coalition government with Jamaat Islami and those radical groups, is going to be a mess. But alone, if BNP win, form the government, and the party's secretary announced, I saw yesterday, that we want to create a congenial atmosphere for all faiths, all democratic institutions and the people, and we will take up all the charges against Awami League leaders, we are going to free them, could have formed a congenial atmosphere, as I believe.
So, do you feel that the chances of his coming to power are strong?
Sensing to the people and the the surrounding atmosphere showing that if election happen and people could vote, win the BNP could have comparing the Jamaat Islami and the NCP, people might gonna choose them. So
The chances are there.
chances are there.
And his coming to power, what would it mean for Bangladesh and particularly the Hindus in Bangladesh?
BNP, their main principle is also the hatred, anti-India, policy. I would like to add that he has his own portrait as 10% and proven guilty of money laundering and lot of what is called the corruption cases against him.
All that notwithstanding,
Right,
if he were to come back,
right,
or if he were to come to power,
right.
what would it mean, and I am repeating my question, for Bangladesh and what would it mean for Hindus?
Okay, Hindus particularly. Recent incidents happening under the Yunus regime, none of their leaders even stand beside Hindus, particularly those who are sufferer. And I would like to urge BNP leaders as well that erase those kind of hatred politics, that's kind of anti-India issues.
It is not about what one would like or you would advise, it is about what they would do.
I would like to pray that every citizen have the right to enjoy their privileges as a citizen, and the harmony of the Hindus, Muslim, Christians, Buddhist or something.
Yeah, that's how it should be.
It should
but
be.
But what would be the ground reality if the BNP were to come to power?
It is unpredictable, need to see, and I don't have any sorts of activities yet. They proved that the atmosphere for the minorities, Hindus, could be a better way.
Before I wrap up, let me ask you, Hasina was tried in absentia by the International Crimes Tribunal in Bangladesh and sentenced to death for crimes against humanity over the crackdown on student-led protests. How is the violence of pre-Hasina ouster era different from the violence that has followed her ouster? Or are we making a mistake here by comparing the violence of both these times, which is pre-Hasina versus post-Hasina terms, because violence is violence?
Hasina, particularly the people knows her. She could control this mobs of so-called student movement. She could do. She complies with their demand, fulfill their demand. But behind this scene, those who played, those players did not agreed upon and put their so-called these organizers.
And post-ouster violence?
The post-ouster violence, it is the continuity. Those who create the violence prior to and after are the same party, same groups, using these sniper rifles, using this 7.62 bullets. None of the police forces or others agencies used.
So, are you saying there is no difference between the two?
There is no difference between the two. I don't see, and I don't hold accountable Sheikh Hasina did it, because if she used her forces, she could remain in the power, and she did not want any bloodshed. She did not want any single loss of life. When Mohammad Yunus come to power, he did not take any initiative or stop this kind of atrocities. So, the feelings is that it is going double or triple the number.
Okay. Before I let you go, let me ask you, do you see any hope of actual change after the elections, if the elections happen?
I would like to believe the better future. I would like to believe to stop this violence, these killings. If the election happen, besides Yunus regime, any other people come to power could have a better environment.
Any other?
Any other means if BNP comes, particularly could be changed, could be changed the environment, and Awami League could have get the space for his political practice, and I demand withdraw the sanctions, give them the chances for democratic norms and ethics, as Awami League did not do it during their 15 years and 7 months rule. BNP, Jamaat Islami, or none of the party was banned. None of the party was keeping aside participating in the election. If anyone did not want to play the game, they could stay home, but was not put any restrictions. So, that kind of congenial atmosphere it comes up. Another further election under the caretaker government, which is now reinstated by the High Court. I like to do the fair, free, inclusive election under this caretaker government could bring peace and tranquility again.
On that optimism and hope, Mohammad Ali Siddiqui, thank you very much. Thank you for your time, and thank you for decoding the situation as it exists in Bangladesh today.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you again, the Hindustan Times, to give me chance to say a few words here.